wait, wait. Wait, wait. I want to do this right. It's been a while. It's been a few days after WrestleMania even, and Raw, and I probably missed the boat on the whole predictions thing and all that, but just wanted to get this out there. It's very important that I do. I want to do it right. So without any further delay, live from my mother's basement, here's Johnny. I know what you're all thinking. Kind of late to the party. Maybe a bit more than fashionably late to the party. But I think it's worth throwing my own ideas out there in video format. Other people can watch, tell me what they think. It's still relevant. It's still, just 3 days after WrestleMania itself. This is one of the bigger hyped WrestleManias we've had in the past here, especially the past couple of years. And the main event was advertised a complete year before WrestleMania 28 happened. Maybe we'll get into some details about that later, but the idea is that it was a big deal, and normally as we get to the Royal Rumble and everything starts kind of panning out after that, when Sheamus won and with Elimination Chamber kind of going what I thought was kind of screwy, we were very much anticipating, I say we because I'm speaking for the girlfriend and also the person that I watched WrestleMania with, one of my best friends from childhood, Mr. Dan. So, we definitely planned on getting this ahead of time. It was not even a question. It was just, what kind of pizza did everybody want, and what were we going to drink that night. It was understood. Now, normally I'd take things piece by piece and analyze it to death, and it turns into a fucking hour-long thing. So I want to try to cut that down and just, really give my 2 fucking cents where it's needed, and not necessarily on every damn little thing that they did. But the one thing I will comment on for this year's WrestleMania was that the structure of the card, just the whole aspect of whoever was planning whatever segment was coming next, you should probably be wished the best in your future endeavors, because this made no fucking sense to me. Your Royal Rumble winner and your second biggest title in the company, the World Heavyweight Championship, and, Daniel Bryan, the controversial champ that he's been after beating Mark Henry and The Big Show in a triple threat cage match, this is how you're going to treat that belt to open the show with it. It's not even higher up on the card than the fucking women's match or the Intercontinental title. I understand that the John Laurinaitis and Team Teddy match was pretty high up there on a priority list, but this fucking thing went before Kane and Randy Orton, which had no build, and we were just supposed to kind of go with it. The reason that they did it, of course, was to try to create some shock value, and to, I guess, attempt to change the title in record time and have a new record for Sheamus, but I think they failed in doing so, unless they're going to rewrite history. I think it took about 18 seconds or 17 seconds or something like that. And I think the record is 8. Was Kane versus Chavo or something like that. Whatever. I could be entirely wrong. I'm old, my hair is falling out, and you can see it reflecting off of my forehead. When that opened up WrestleMania and it was like less than a minute long, I thought to myself, oh God, here we go. every other match now is going to have to run over and have more time to compensate for this. And while I'm happy with the result, with Sheamus winning, it was almost like it was so fast that it had no chance to really have a feeling like if there was any payoff. Like, I mean, I'm happy that Sheamus has the belt. I'm happy that it's off of Bryan. I knew they were going to go with that. That was my prediction in the first place. But I can't say that I feel necessarily good about it, because it doesn't make Sheamus really look all that much better. That, he had to kick Bryan in the face after he was distracted by kissing his girlfriend. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't know, I would have booked him to seem more important than that, but at least the right person won, and that's, as much positive as I can say about that. And here's where it really starts to get interesting. We did Kane and Orton immediately after that. No video package, no build, just go out there and do it. And I thought it was a pretty sloppy match, to be honest. I can't really say that I was impressed with the ring work on this one. Steph is probably going to hate me for saying this, but Orton really doesn't impress me. He never has. And he lost a lot of fucking credibility with me, when he went over at WrestleMania against the other two members of Legacy, when clearly their careers were the ones that could have, risen in stock and, could have appeared to be greater than they were with the outcome. It would have been a perfect time to put, Ted DiBiase as a baby face. Instead, they turned Orton face, and he's been boring ever since. Not that he wasn't boring before that, but now he's exceptionally boring to me. And to me, it's my own opinion. If you don't agree, you can tell me why, but I was very shocked to see that they would let Kane pick up the win here, especially now with the news that Orton is not going to go off and film a movie. It kind of feels like, I thought Orton was their boy. It was one of their poster children, just like John Cena. But, I must say that I was surprised with the result. But the match was so sloppy that I really didn't even care. And leading up to WrestleMania, I really didn't care about this match anyway, because I don't feel like it did anything for either guy. There wasn't really anything on the line here other than just a throwaway match. And that's what it turned out to be. So, then we got to the third match, which was Cody Rhodes and The Big Show, if I'm remembering this correctly. If I'm not, it's because it's a few days later, and I don't use notes, so yeah. Hooray. I really liked this match, except for the part where Cody Rhodes looked like he got hit in the sack. That looked kind of painful. Come on, show. I don't really know what was going on. Like, part of me didn't want Cody to lose, because I never really want him to lose. That's just a personal, bias. I like the kid. He's shown me a lot of growth, especially in the past year and a half. I'm hoping that the reason that he got rid of the title is so that he can move on to bigger and better things, not so that he can get, buried down the card. He's had a great run. Longest Intercontinental Champion to date, if I'm not mistaken, is what they said. So, that's impressive to go and have the longest title reign ever for the Intercontinental Championship, especially with the caliber of stars that have held that. I'm falling asleep on you guys, and that must be incredibly boring to watch. My apologies. But when Big Show won and he had his moment and he was getting, really misty-eyed and everything, like that had an emotional resonance with me. And, I think that it was important to, have Big Show get his time in the sun too before he goes off into the sunset. Because, it's not like we didn't have the Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels match where all three of those guys are kind of now out of the fucking picture forever. Or if, Triple H does come back for, like, one more match kind of thing, like, oh well, his time is up, and, his ability to main event is essentially over. I'm gonna get some coffee in my system. What do you guys think? Brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Shit better start working. That's all I'm saying. You know, there were points in this WrestleMania where I thought to myself, oh God, like, is this really going to be how it is? Because we got 3 matches before it was an hour into the program, and that was even with the hyping up of the video package between Rhodes and Big Show. I liked that match, but I'm not sure if it was really a WrestleMania match, to be honest. It could have been at any pay-per-view, if you ask me. You know, and I'm being kind of hard on this because it was the whole pay-per-view. You know, WrestleMania 28, the idea was cemented in your head that it was coming, and it was going to be Rock and Cena, and this whole pay-per-view was supposed to be magnificent and over the top, and, you know, exceed our expectations. And, I don't really know if it exceeded anything for me. It just kind of was there. I'm not saying it was terrible. You know, it was definitely watchable. It had its moments that excited me and shocked me, but I don't think that, you know, in the long span of things down, you know, 20 years later, that anybody's going to remember this one as being too terribly important, other than the fact that, you know, well, the other WrestleManias are remembered for like 1 match or maybe like 2 matches, and this really doesn't seem like it's going to be anything different to me. The women's match was god-awful. And it was god-awful enough for, within the first minute, I decided to go take a dump. And by the time I came back, I thought that it would be over and we could move on, but no, it was still going on. And then it went on way too long even after I got back from taking a crap. So, to me, I don't know why they did that, especially with the celebrity Maria and whatever the hell her name is, Nunos, Banana Nanarama, no, something, Manunos, is that right? Who gives a shit? Some TV host of some show, of some morning thing. Nobody watches that. Who cares? You know, that really annoyed me because it was more about Eve and it was more about Kelly Kelly than it was about your women's champ, and it was just no reason for the celebrity involvement. You already had Rock coming back from Hollywood. Did you really need this other shit? To me, it was terrible, and I fucking failed the hell out of that match in my grading system. Yeah, but I went into the bias too because I didn't want to see a tag match. I wanted to see fucking Beth Phoenix against either Natalya or Karma or somebody else, even just defending the title. Maybe it could have been continuing the feud with Tamina at that point. I mean, because there's just, what's the point of having a women's title if it's not going to be defended regularly or have a feud or be important? Why do you have women's wrestling then if it's not going to, you know, like, what point does it serve? Yeah. The Hell in a Cell, you know, you could say a lot of things about it. The story that it told was fantastic. I don't know that it needed to be a WrestleMania match necessarily. I don't know that it even needed to be a Hell in a Cell match because they didn't really use the cell as much as I had predicted they were going to. I thought the fact that it was inside Hell in a Cell, they were going to use that, the cell and the weapons and the steps and everything, to kind of hide the fact that Undertaker was old and that, you know, they were trying to really push themselves to the limit. And really all that I saw toward the end of that match was a bunch of submission holds and somebody sitting up after getting hit with a chair 27 fucking times, which, you know, was exciting, but is that really a WrestleMania worthy match? I don't know. I'm torn. I think that, you know, it definitely had its place on that card, you know, and I think that the execution was well done. Like, you know, it really didn't end up having anybody screw over anybody else like I thought Michaels was gonna do. So it was nice to kind of, you know, have it end, and for Taker to go 20-0. Like, I mean, I gave this match a B minus in my grading system, but I mean, who knows? So, in terms of greatest of all time Hell in a Cells, for me, it's not even up there. And in terms of Undertaker's greatest matches, it's really not even up there either. But it was there, and the person that I wanted to win actually walked away as the winner. So, you know, it gave me kind of what I wanted. I was more interested in eating chips, I think, at that point. Um, I liked the way that Michaels was involved in the match, but for what it was, I mean, they could have probably ended it 5 or 6 minutes early and not had the guys look as exhausted as they were. They could have just told a better story, I think. I don't know. I'm being picky, but I mean, if you think about it, like, this is fucking WrestleMania, and it's supposed to feel important and over the top and all this stuff, and it just seemed like another pay-per-view to me, to be honest. You have Jericho and Punk. And this is after the Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, which was nothing special. I gave that match like a C plus. John Laurinaitis won. It was the right outcome. Miz won, so I was pretty stoked about that. It was very unexpected. I did not like the whole Eve thing where she kicked Zack Ryder and his little Jimmy. I didn't like how it was just like a pile of people kind of match. I thought that it could have been done as like an 8-man tag and not necessarily had to have been 12. I feel like maybe it would have been a lot smoother if it was elimination style. I didn't feel like this match had to be at WrestleMania. They could have done this at Survivor Series months ago and had the same effect to me, especially when John Laurinaitis was having his struggle for power coming in. It could have been like much bigger, but I like the possibilities of the feuds that could spin off of this match, as long as they don't use Great Khali because he's terrible. I could see I could see a Santino. Or am I thinking like Cena-Tino? What the hell is wrong with me? I could see a Santino-David Otunga rivalry in the future over the U.S. title. I know that on Raw they kind of did the safe thing and had Swagger versus Ziggler versus Santino in a triple threat, but that's kind of up in the air besides the point, because I don't think that's really going to amount to anything big. I do think that Otunga would be a good person to put in there because he's new to the title scene, and if he was to win it, it would make him look like a better in-ring worker and give him more time to be featured. And if he lost, Santino could then, feud with any other heel that's in that mid-card range, and it wouldn't be a bad thing, to get more people on television. Or he could defend it even against a face, and just feature them on television. I thought that maybe the whole debut of Lord Tensai or whatever, that he would go after Santino being a babyface champ, but who knows, maybe they'll put Big Show versus Lord Tensai as the Intercontinental feud. I don't know. Just throwing that idea out there. Santino doesn't really have an ongoing feud with anyone, so he's more available rather than Big Show, who's kind of tied up with Cody Rhodes for the next month, but I couldn't tell you. But yeah, when you talk about the Jericho and Punk match, it was certainly a good match. It was even a great match, but I don't know if it was like a WrestleMania Classic match. And to be entirely fair, like there was enough back and forth and surprise elements, and I really thought that Jericho was going to win the damn thing when he put him in a submission hold for as long as he did. But I don't see the whole, like, there were some high spots and some good spots, but the play out of the match and the idea that Punk was going to lose his temper and everything, like, that was really prominent the first 5 minutes, and it really kind of like stopped. There was nothing gigantic about that stipulation after the fact. Like, he brought the chair into the ring and he didn't hit him with it, and then he beat him clean. So I don't know. Maybe they'll lengthen the feud and draw it out a couple of months more. I don't know. Like, it just seems to me like this should have been Jericho's time, and then Punk should have had to come back and through the adversity to win the title back. I don't understand. But it's just because it's not how I would have done it. It doesn't take away from the match. I actually gave the match a solid A-. So there you go. terms of Rock and Cena, I hated the fucking entrances. I thought that went on way too long. I thought the Brodus Clay shit before that was unnecessary. Unless you're gonna like really use that guy and make him super fucking dominant force and feature him every day or whatever. What was the point? You know, you sacrificed Sheamus and Daniel Bryan under the bus so that you could have that dancing segment. No thanks. I'll take any fucking television show, you know, episode of wrestling from, you know, the good old golden era over that any day. Yeah, as corny as it was back then, and as colorful as the characters were, you know, even, God almighty, you know, you want to go back to the late 70s and shit, go ahead. I would rather have that than to have Brodus Clay and this Mother's Bridge Club dancing around. You know, I get it. Really not. That's shit that should be on television. It shouldn't be WrestleMania worthy. Cena versus The Rock to me was very much disappointing. And as much as I'm happy with The Rock winning, it really just makes me think, what the fuck are they going to do with Cena now? Because they're definitely not going to turn him heel. So where does this character develop from here? I'm just stuck on that. The match was very sloppily done, in my opinion. The best part of the match was that Rock, you know, got up, gave him the rock bottom at the very end, 1, 2, 3, and it was so unexpected. It was the best thing about it. But I thought it went on kind of long. I thought that, you know, neither one of them looked as good as they could have looked. The tying up in the beginning and the throwing around like rag dolls or whatever they were trying to do with the test of strength, it was alright. Honestly, it reminded me a lot of Goldberg versus Lesnar, and I made that comment to Dan and Steph as I was watching the thing. Definitely not worth a year's worth of build to see that. Like, it was nothing spectacular. Nobody went through a fucking announce table. It was nice to see Cena finally lose and lose clean, but oh god, it was a plain Jane match. It was kind of forgettable, to be honest. Except for the ending. Like, the ending was the only thing I had going for it. Yeah, they gave each other some finishers and kicked out, but it was the main event match of WrestleMania. You expect that kind of shit. So it didn't do anything to surprise me. My overall grade for WrestleMania 28 is a solid B, and that's better than, you know, it had been doing in the past, if you ask me. I'd be willing to give it a B+, you know, if you want to be kind of lenient, but in no way, shape, or form does this thing come up to meeting an A standard. You know, John Cena mentions all the time that he's always there, he always shows up, he's always ready to work. But, you know, if you're a kid in school or whatever and you always show up and you're always there, you know, you can still end up failing if your work sucks and you don't get along with anyone. So, you know, there should be an exceptional effort that gets an exceptional grade. Not, you know, just hand it out or give them a free pass because it's been better than past WrestleManias. It definitely was. That doesn't make it, you know, not worth criticizing and, you know, pointing out flaws or things that they could have done better. Did I feel like it was worth the money I paid for it? Probably more so because of the company that I had and the reactions, you know, that we had and the conversations that were going on, and just the results were the right results, but the matches themselves it left a lot to be desired. I mean, aside from the Punk and Jericho match, nothing was really super well orchestrated or even looked like they had given it too much thought beforehand. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan kind of set the tone for me. Like, they really didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do with this WrestleMania. They just kind of had it there and hoped that it was just going to sell and draw money. And that's what they're going to base their success off of, not off of if the fans are happy or if the matches were even good. But because they drew that many eyeballs and got paid, they're going to think it was fantastic. They're going to call it the best WrestleMania ever, and it's not. Not by far. Call me a sucker for old school, and call me bitter, and call me living in the past. Whatever you want to call me. Leave it in the comments below, even. If you think for whatever reason this WrestleMania was fantastic and deserves an A, let me know. I just can't agree with it. I think that everybody deserves to be a critic if you're going to pay your hard-earned fucking money for this, and we're definitely moving in the right direction. This was definitely the best WWE pay-per-view, I believe. And I know it's probably going to be a lot better than Extreme Rules or whatever's coming up next, because what do they really have time to build in 3 weeks here before they give us the next one? Not a whole lot. Now, you want to talk about the most exciting thing about Monday Night Raw was that, hooray, Brock Lesnar is back. Well, I never liked Lesnar to begin with, so, yeah. And then after the way that he kind of left the company, that really left a sour taste in my mouth. And that's the reason we have Cena right now, is because Lesnar didn't work out. We went with Plan B, or Plan C, even. Not the guy that we wanted to be in the future, and that everybody had laid down for, guys like Undertaker, Rock. We went down so that Brock Lesnar could win the championship in his first 6 months in the company. And it's almost like a slap to have him back, because he's a lot of the reason for the PG era, and the safe champions they have, and never moving the title off of anyone new to give him a shot, always the same people in the title picture kind of stuff. The reason that, wrestling became less popular, essentially, was because they started doing shit that got to be predictable, because they didn't want to put all their eggs in, a basket with a guy and have him walk out on him anymore. It's just the way it is. So, anybody that's going to give, John Cena hell at the end of the show, okay, I applaud that. Hooray. But long term, there's no way that Brock Lesnar is going to go over Cena, especially repeatedly in some kind of big feud. And there's no way it's going to go all the way to SummerSlam. And I don't understand why you would bring him back now, right after WrestleMania, instead of build it up. Maybe you had a lot of eyeballs and you wanted to catch attention to people that haven't watched in years. I get that. But I heard Dave Bautista was in town too, and he's somebody that, fans actually like. And, he's actually somebody that stuck with the company and was loyal. So, if anybody deserves to come back and tag Cena in the face, it would have been him, according to, my thoughts. But just share with me whatever you think, and I'm glad you took the time to watch it. Look for me to do, some future audios with my friend Dan that I've been watching a lot of these pay-per-views with. They'll be coming up soon. I'm still trying to figure out a good way to close these videos. For now, I'm just going to say see you later, have fun, and, chew bubblegum and all that good stuff. Take a nap, whatever, do your homework, eat pizza, etc. Good luck out there, and may the force be with you or something.